Okay. All right, got it. Everybody's got to hit got it to get that screen out. So I'll back up a little bit so this is on the recording. So this is sort of a tandem lecture or demonstration that goes along with last week's lecture of color photography. And I called it the power of color. I picked out 3 images that are mine from different shoots, and the color was a bit funky when I shot it. And this is, I'm going to go through correcting it, and I will talk about what I'm doing to correct it. So I just want to make sure I got this image before I did anything. Is it just library history? Yes.
I apologize for interrupting, but I don't know how we got here.
It's my screen. And
Uh-huh.
I'm just going to be demonstrating what I'm doing within a program called Lightroom. So you just get to sit back and watch it like a movie.
Okay, just live. Okay, that's what I need to know.
Yeah. It'll, so this is what the screen looks like in the program Lightroom. On the right, I've got a column of places that I can go to give my image adjustments. And on the left, it has another column of all kinds of things, adjustments that I could use of theirs, of Lightroom's. And also I can use, it's got my catalogs. The catalog I developed today just for this was called VA Color Demo. And you can see I've got 3 images in that particular folder. So what I don't like about this is I feel that they're going a bit orange. And the girl that's sitting, that's totally facing us, her face is quite orange. And the whole cast is orange, which is a problem that happens when you're shooting in ballrooms. They make a very warm light for the party, but in photography, they start looking like lobster people. This one's not so bad, but everything goes to the orange, yellow, and reds. All right, so what I would do first going in, if this is let's just say this is the one the bride wants, and before we make an enlargement of this, I'm going to make sure the color is good. So I'm going to go first. Okay, let me also preface this. You don't have to go in the exact order that I'm doing. And when you're working in Photoshop and Lightroom, there's about 100 different ways to do color. But I'm just going to show you the simplest way I have found to do that. Okay, it's not the only way. I come over here, I'm in the develop mode at the top, sort of on the right. And I'm going to come in and on these sliders, this one tells me temperature. Now, in my lecture last week, we talked about color temperature and how different light bulbs make it go warm or cool. Well, this slider is going to do the same thing. And I think they are too warm. So I'm going to add a little bit of blue in the color temperature, and I'm going to pick my slider. It doesn't take much because I'll show you if I go too far, it goes really bad, really fast. So let me get back to 0. And what I've decided is around 13, negative 13 was about where I want to be in adding some blue to this image. The next slider down is called tint. And I am going to add some, okay, you can see there's a green side and a magenta side. So I'm going to add in magenta, and I'm going to go just add it in very slowly. And I'm thinking about there because that gives them a more healthy look on their skin. Let me show you what happens if I go the other direction to green. Oh, they look very, very sick. And I'm going to go all the way on the other direction to magenta, and that's not where I want to be either. So I have already worked on this image so we could do it quicker. And I wanted to go to F5 on this one, is what I decided that this looks pretty. Come on down to 5. That's good enough. All right. And then I think it's rather a dark image, but I like it looking like it's at a party, but I'm going to come down here to the shadows, and I'm going to do what you call in the dark room, the old days of being in the dark room. I'm going to open up my shadows a little bit so it's not quite so dark. Let me show you the slider. It can all the way there. And I don't want to see I don't need to see the chairs behind and all that detail. So I'm going to bring it down. I just opened up the shadows a little bit. And then for me and my taste, I like to do a vignette on just about everything. And that's on the left-hand side here. And I'm going to come to the vignettes, history vignettes here. And I liked a heavy vignette on this because it really makes you look into the face of the bride and her girlfriend that's facing us. The vignette falls a little bit on the person that's on the right, but I don't feel like she's that important in this photograph. Does anybody have any questions on my treatment of this particular image? Is everybody still with me?
Yes.
Okay, good, great. I didn't get disconnected. I'll sit here for an hour and talk to myself. Good.
No, you're still with us.
All right. All right. So now we're going to go to a different image altogether. Come down to my library. Okay. This image was an image that it's a woman's sculpture. She hired me to come photograph her show. It was a graduate show at Cal State Long Beach. And she made this whole room full of birds, and this bird she put together with wood and sticks, and I think it's pretty fantastic. But I feel that the color on the walls just doesn't do it. It just doesn't. It looks a little mushroomy or something. So the first thing I would do again is I go over to the temperature, and okay. The temperature, we're going to go, I'm going to add some blue because it looks too warm to me. I'm going to go to the tint, and I'm going to get a little tiny bit of magenta back in there. A little bit, just a little bit. And again, with shadows. Open it up. And then I'm going to go back because I like my vignettes. Maybe just add some exposure.
You can see the histogram moving too.
Yes, you can. You can. And that helps me sometimes when my color is funky. You'll see on the next one how I've got a long ways to go. So on this one, though, I can go back down through my history and show you what it looked like before and where I brought it to. You know, just for the heck of it too, I'm going to go back. I'm going to open this one up again because I forgot to do something else to it that I wanted to do and to show you. Okay, let's go and look at orange. Let me just start over on this one. Let me just start over. Here we are. Let's do the temperature again, like what we did. I'm going to put a little blue in there. And then I'm going to look at orange. I want to show you how you can go into actual colors and the saturation. See, it says saturation, and then it divides it down to just the colors. Now, up at the histogram, you can see I've got quite a blip of orange to the right. And I think I kind of want to take some of that out. So I go right onto the orange scale, and I'm going to go to the left. And it tells me it goes like, it's black on that side of the scale, but then on the right side of the scale, it shows more color. So that tells me to desaturate the orange. I'm going to go toward the left. And I'm going to go take out quite a bit. I'm going to go to there. And then it's still, I've got a lot of red in there too. And I want to take out some of that red. So here we go back up to red. And I'm going to desatch some of that red. Okay. All right, so let's go back and let's look at the histogram now. So this is the original, that's where it was. And that's what I took it to. I think their skin tones are much nicer in this one. I'll go back again. They just look, it's like an orange cast over everything. And then it's not too bad. And it's just small shifts. Her dress is not that shifted. When it's really bad, it'll show in the white dress, but that looks kind of like a warm dress, but it wasn't really, it was more of that color. Okay. Now we're going to go to the last image that I've got for you. Well, let's see, maybe, let's just, okay, I'm going to go right into Photoshop with this one. And that will give you a good way to figure out what Photoshop's going to look like. So for me to export this, I'm going to go back down to the original Icky Color. I'm going to export this in photo. It's going to drop down to edit in. And from this edit in, I'm going to go into Adobe Photoshop. It's asking me if I want to edit a copy with Lightroom adjustments. I always just hit yes. This has no adjustments made to this one, but I usually do have adjustments made before I go into Photoshop. So I'm just going to keep that at yes, and I'm going to edit. And here we are. Oh. Okay, this is now Photoshop. And that's nice how these two programs talk to one another. So you can toggle back and forth easily, and you don't have to keep opening up one program and re-entering it in. My Lightroom will just send it right into Photoshop. Hang on, I've got notes here that I am okay. You go into to change the color, you're going to go up here to image. And then I'm going to go to adjustments, and I got a whole nother panel for adjustments. And then I'm going to go to hue saturation, and I'm going to open that up. And now here's my sliders again, but they're just different. This one is a master, and that will go over the whole image, all the colors. And if I want to change the saturation, watch, I'll do all the colors. We've desaturated it so much that it's black and white. And then I'm going to oversaturate all those colors. And that really tells you how much orange actually is in there. We don't see it as much, but if you're having a hard time deciding, is it green or blue that I need to get out, you just pump up your saturation and it becomes very obvious. All right, so I'm going to change my master, and I'm going to take out, I'm going to go look at yellows. And I'm going to take out some yellow. So I'm going to desaturate the yellow. Out there. And I'm going to go look at red. And I got a lot of red in here, so I'm going to desaturate it down to about, till I like it about there. And then I'm going to go back and change blue. And now I'm going to go the other direction on the blue. So I'm going to add blue in there. It's kind of taken a lot. About there. Now I can take away the preview so we can see what it used to look like. There. And there. It's not much of a change, but I think their skin looks way better. Oh, I don't want to colorize it. But I like Lightroom a lot better than doing this. All right. Okay, now I'm going to go back into Lightroom. And I'm going to go find this other image that actually drove me crazy for a while when I first shot it. It's in a very different lighting situation. It's out in It's out by Joshua Tree. There's a town just before Joshua Tree. Palm Desert. 29 Palms. And it's this weird artist sort of little village. And this is a grotto this guy built. And you walk into it and you feel like you're underwater, but it's all dry. You're just sitting there. And so I've got some daylight coming through this little porthole, but he's got some weird funky lights that he's got, the place lit with, and it's not really much sunlight except what's coming through the porthole, but you can tell that's not really what's lighting the subjects. But I feel that skin is sallow. It doesn't look very healthy, especially on the person with the lipstick. It looks very, very yellow. So interesting fun fact on this shoot. So the one with lipstick is a guy and the one in the striped t-shirt is a girl, but they are transsexual. So they both dress the opposite. So she's dressed as a guy, he's dressed as a girl, and they were a couple. Oh, good. It was just very confusing. So on this, to color correct them, I am going to start looking first at my histogram, and that's a very unusual histogram for portraits to have all that blue and all that yellow and a little blip of orange. But I found that if I went and did, I'm going to add magenta. Weird color scheme. Hang on a second. I didn't have much luck with my slider here for this. If I go blue, that's not right. If I go yellow, that's not right, but we still don't look good. So I had to go down into the actual colors that we did before and talk about their saturation or experiment with that. So I worked very hard before the lecture, so I don't have to, you didn't have to see me like trial and error all of this. And it was, if I found that if I went 15 magenta, see, that kind of helps them already, kind of gets rid of some of that yellowness. And then orange. Because I'm working on that skin tone, and I went 31 orange. Okay, and so let me go back to the virtual copy that I made and just look at their skin tones. It doesn't show much, does it? Let's go back and add magenta here. That's better too. What's deceiving too is he has a lot of foundation makeup on, and it really wasn't a very good color match for his skin. And that can really throw you when you're trying to do a portrait of anybody anywhere. So just to let you know, it's very hard to color balance that. I think I'm going to take down some of these highlights because I don't like the guy in front with the glasses and the lipstick. He's got a lot of light coming down on his forehead. And so I'm just going to start reducing that to get down to, it's not quite so bright. And I also can see a little bit more of that fun kind of aqua in the porthole. Let me go back again and show you. So that gets very blown out. I can blow it out even more and show you that that's not good either. All right, so I take down these highlights here. I think I'll add a vignette on this one too, because there's a lot going on in the background. Okay, so we'll go back to the original. Let's just there. Okay. There to there.
Yeah.
Woo! Isn't that fun? And you can monkey around with this stuff forever. I did find something that was fun doing these gals. There's a preset. Let me get back to, Okay, this is where we started with them. That's where I ended up, but let's go back to here. And there was a thing on preset for portraits. I mean, what? It gets even better. So I found that the Skin O2, it was deep, what was it? Medium deep O2, cool. And I thought that was a nice adjustment. Go back again. Let's go back to the original history. Where is that? History. Okay. And that was just presto magic. That was a lot of fun to find out about. I had to go through all of those and all of them though to figure out which they were. Let me just show you for fun. If I go here, that wasn't it. And you just do the slider. You don't even have to click on them and it will show you the different adjustments that they already have pre-done for you. And this is the one I decided I thought was the best. And that one's not so bad, but you can just go flying through these to see the changes. Isn't that fun? Yay. All right. Does anybody have any questions about the sliders or how I decided on anything?
I had a question.
Yeah.
Amy, on the last picture, would you be able to use those presets? Would that be helpful?
Maybe let's be experimental and go and take a look. I'm going to go back to the default on it so we know we're what we're doing. And you know what I will do is take those highlights down. I think that's easier to see what's going on. Okay, this is light skin. Let's do yellow. Yellow.
That's good. That's better.
Yeah, it's better.
She still looks sick. He still looks sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a little better.
Yeah.
Medium deep skin O2. That's icky. That's awful. That's even worse. So we said the deep skin O2 we thought was pretty good. Now let's compare that. So that's original. Deep skin. What did we say? Shoot, deep
O2.
deep, medium deep O2. Medium deep, or medium deep skin O2. Yeah, I mean, skin looks pretty good. I think I might give it a little more depth to the exposure there. That looks good.
That looks good.
There you go.
Right there.
Yeah, let's put a vignette on it because you know me. Not a water bottle that I'm shooting on my flowers. It's throwing a vignette on everything. I kind of like that.
That's a good one.
I mean, it looks like they're underwater except for they're sitting next to a fan.
Yeah.
All right. So any other questions about how I go about doing color balance?
Amy, can you do select subject and select inverse like you can in Photoshop?
Not in Lightroom.
Okay.
No, that's one thing you can't do. You
I
can
see.
do a little bit of spot removal with
Mhm.
with the Band-Aid thing up here, but I find it really pretty frustrating. It's a funky thing that it does. Okay, so I'm over here. I'm gonna enlarge that so we can just see it better. my target. All right, so let's just say I don't like maybe, what are the, whatever those are.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I click it,
Mhm.
and then it goes, okay, how about this? This, can we use that? I go, no, I think I want it green. So I'll bring it up here and that it kind of copies over the green. And then, no, I kind of like that. No, that's not really quite right. Let's go back to the green. And then I just hit done.
Uh-huh. Not much control, yeah.
Not much, not much. I'm gonna go back. I don't like that so much. I'm gonna go back to edit and undo my spot removal and put it back the way it was.
Mhm.
You can do a lot of, in Photoshop, you can go backwards a lot too on the edit.
Yeah,
Do you- Let's see, I'll show, demonstrate that. So that's, Photoshop. So on this one, to do a spot removal, you can do the Band-Aid. I don't know, what are we gonna take out? I'll take out,
that brown thing at the top over her head.
over here. You want that to be dark? That's not really what I would do for spot. I would do that. I would clone that one, but I could take out easily. I could take out her necklace.
Okay,
One step. I'm not really happy with what it did to her dress, but I go back up here and I go edit and undo spot healing brush. I can do, let's just say I do it, get rid of that one, we'll get rid of this one and maybe her earring. And down here, let's get rid of that. And I'm like, oh man, I took out all their jewelry. So I go to edit and I just keep going undo, undo, and it just goes back through the steps and it gets back all their jewelry.
Mhm.
All the things I did, undo. And I don't even, it used to be in the old days, it was only like 4 steps back and then it was just like, too bad, too late. But this one just keeps going and going and going through, you know, backing up. So I enjoy that. But that is that. We have extra time. Do you want me to do another fun? You want me to do Liquify for you guys? Or do you feel like you had enough information?
Sure. Look,
Another one? Okay,
to see it.
all right, all right.
Try liquefy.
All right, we're gonna do Liquify and I'm gonna pick out a different image because this one doesn't really lend itself to what I want to do. So give me a hot second to, I'm gonna close this out, close, and don't save. And I'll minimize, let me head into Lightroom and do a portrait. Lightroom, and I'll go here, and I'm gonna go look at my keywords of portrait. People. Let's see. Good one. I want to do somebody that's kind of. This would be a good one. And then I'll go back into edit in there. Yes. And here we are. All right. This is one of my favorite tools when I'm shooting portraiture. And people are like not comfortable because they're not comfortable in their own skin. They don't like the way their body is shaped. And you can use Liquify to make art and make things all crazy. But you can just use Liquify to help enhance what they like and reduce what they don't like. So at the top here, we've got the brush size, and on the left side, I'm going to put it in the forward warp tool, and I'm going to check my brush size to be about, and oh, that's way too big. You can see the white circle. That's telling me how big the size is. Actually, we're not going to do warp. We're going to do not the pucker tool, but we're going to do the bloat tool. And let's just say she wants to have larger breasts. You just put that over her breast and you start going like this, and it's making it bigger. Doesn't look like it, but it is. You're going to see when I take it away. And then we're going to go into the, we'll go to the pucker tool. And now I've got to make sure my brush size is where I want it to be. That's too big. And then I can put that in her waistline. I'll go exaggerated so you guys can see it. I don't want to go over her hand too much because it could distort her hand. And I'm in the pucker tool. Let's work on her. Her neckline. And now I'm going to go into the, it's the, what do they call it? A forward warp. Check. And what I'm going to do is I hold it down and I move where I want it to go. So I'm moving her shoulder down. So many people get their shoulders all hooked up when they're getting their picture taken. And to make someone look confident and sure about what they're doing, you lower their shoulders and oh my gosh, they all of a sudden have a great posture and they're more confident. On this one, you can go into the face shape. She's got a great smile, but we don't need any more. But over here on the mouth, I can go to the smile. And if I really want to make her grinning harder, I'll do it even harder. Boy, that is a big smile there. Kind of ridiculous, but we'll do that. I can, let's see, face shape. A jawline perhaps, so we could work on her jawline. I'll narrow it because most women want a thinner face. And I can move her eyes around, or nose height, nose width. Let's just check that out. That makes her nostrils flare, and that makes her nose smaller. I can do eyes tilting. This will be the left eye. Is that eye? Oh, that's the eye height. We don't want that. We want the tilt. That makes it droop down, and that makes it go up. We'll put them both up a little bit. All right. Okay. Did you see that?
Yeah,
Was that fun?
yeah, that was great.
Edit, undo, liquefy.
Oh, her shoulders went up.
I know, doesn't that change everything? I mean, gosh. And that's when you get people go, I don't know why, but I love it when you take my picture. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's enough fun tools for you guys. I don't want to overdo it. I went over a lot because we went over in Lightroom. Let's go back. We went over the color, the temperature, the cool, and how to look for that, and the tint, magenta, the green. This image didn't need any of that. You guys already knew exposure, but that's always fun to go like, how much, where should I be? And then going all the way down to the colors and actually sucking out, or let's transform. I must have gone right past them. I was so excited. I flew past them. There we go. To actually go one color at a time and see how it looks. Now, if you want to see if it, like the master one over in Photoshop, if you want to see what the whole thing looks like, we can do saturation here, right here. We could do that. This is the master where all the colors get saturated. They're just kind of, wow, That's quite a shirt. Or you can go all the way the other way and make her black and white. So we covered that. And I went over vignetting and how to get it into Photoshop. And then you had a little quick lesson on Liquify. I think that's a lot of information for one day.
I think that's great, Amy.
Good. Well, there's more where that came from. So, I mean, these programs are just amazing. They're just amazing. They're so much fun to play with. And here I've got one, like those little presets on the side. I'm going to mess around with those a lot more too. Why not? You know, it's, there's just so much. There's just so much. So, this doesn't, last Wednesday, we said, you know, we talked about colors so much, so keep shooting your color. I've been seeing some beautiful images. You guys have just been knocking it out of the park. John Boland, that blast that you shot makes me thirsty. I mean, that is just beautiful. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, get on Photoshop get on Facebook and take a look at John's picture of a glass. It's just sweating and looks so refreshing. It's
Oh,
just
yeah.
beautiful.
It's Perrier.
Oh,
Water.
that's great. So I love Facebook, and thank you guys for posting. It's been a big assignment for me to do that color lecture, and I feel like you responded to it and you're enjoying and looking for color now, and I think that's awesome. All right, Catherine, do we have? Oh, I see a chat here. Do we need to see somebody's asking a question through chat?
No.
Okay. All right, good. All right, that's it. That's the big lecture for today.
Very
Okay.
good. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Very nice.
Did Kent hang in there?